This is Mastering Mathematics with your teacher, Karen Weston.
Hello Antigua Barbuda and the rest of the world. Welcome again to another in the series, Mastering Mathematics. I'm Karen Weston and bidding you welcome to this program sponsored by the Ministry of Education using its EBU unit, Center for Education Research and Warrior Education, and of course, ABS Television. We welcome you once again because we are going to make you great mathematicians. And again, this is a fight that we must continue. And as we remember the senseless slaughter of our brother, Sean Williams, he will always be in our hearts. And although we are sad that his human remain is not with us, I know his free spirit will always be around us. And we remember his very last project. And what a great thing it is. It's a ship. And it's taking him now to another shore. And we are left to continue this journey through this pilgrim land. Again, we ask you to say a prayer for the family and to pray for Antigua Barbuda and for all those people who have the education system and the progress of it and the students. I don't know why they're so angry, but a fight every day nearly ends up with a death. And parents, we're going to ask you once again to make certain that that Bible becomes a part of your daily reading and give your children a scripture and a verse to walk with. All right? Again, it's not cowardly. It's nothing bad to run away from a fight. And these bullies who are chasing down people, please remember, do not be senseless, do not be flawless, because we are trying to make you persons of the entire world and asking you to help build our nation. We pray for the students, especially of Otis Comprehensive. The atmosphere must be so tense up there, and all we're trying to do is to eke out an education. Parents, let's take up our responsibility once again and tell our students everything does not have to end with a fight. Words, and if words can't help, walk away from it. All right? Now, yesterday we started the operation with subtraction. And we realized that the only thing that changed at that time was just the sign. We're taking off some. We're still finding our LCM and going through the operation. But then there is one thing, because we were accustomed to do things like a half. Oh, let's use this one. And then it's a half, and it's like minus a third. And we know our LCMs are different. So we would our denominators are different. So we would have to find an LCM. But then we realized, yes, that there's another type too, where we can have 7 over 9 minus 5 over 9, where the denominators are the same. And once the denominators are the same, all we have to do is to subtract our numerators, so that right away we can look at this and say 7 minus 5, and the answer would be 2 over 9. The denominator the same, we put them back. Similarly, if this was 7 over 9 plus 5 over 9, denominators are the same, write them back, and all we are doing, we are adding, so it would be 12 upon 9. And of course, when you get a numerator that is bigger than your denominator, we have produced what we are calling, what are we calling it, cameraman?
Mixed fraction.
It's not in the mixed fraction stages yet. What stage do we have? It's an improper fraction, and normally we don't like improper things. So it's the same in the world of mathematics. So what do we do with it, cameraman? We make it into a mixed fraction. So we're getting, and it's 1 and 3 upon 9, all right? And we can still reduce this because you see the proper fraction part of it can be reduced further. So we'd have 1 and 1 upon 3, because that's divided by 3. That's divided by 3. Just the fractional part of it, all right? And that's our answer. And you know, just as when you said mixed fractions, remember our word mixed fractions, okay? What is a mixed fraction? Can you tell me? I'm sorry, cameraman, you're the only one here today because we are all alone, except Sean is with me here too, because he's always at my side, okay? What is a mixed fraction?
contains a whole number and a fraction.
Right. So a mixed number is a fraction, and it's one in which we have a whole number and a proper fraction. Whole number and a proper fraction. Right. You know, you can get a round out of that in your classroom. One side would be clapping and saying whole number, and this one answer whole number and a fraction. Good. So we know right away that the mixed number then, it's a whole number and a proper fraction. So that is what we're doing. So today we're going to take you right into that avenue where we're going to be now subtracting mixed fractions. Okay? Mixed fractions. That's what we're going to be subtracting. Okay. So it is now mixed. Okay? Mixed. Okay? Fractions. And that's what we are subtracting today. Now, so here you expect to see, and again I'm taking my examples from the Gray and Lane because they're simple enough, and I want to emphasize to teachers that once it's teaching a new concept, keep the numbers small. Keep the numbers small. It's not the big answer, it's the concept that we're trying to sell to our students. Okay? And again, you will see me on the television, but because of time, we are not engaging too much with the practical aspect of it. But teachers, in your classroom, every day would not be just coming and doing the same theoretical aspect of it, all right? Once you have done the theoretical part, then you can start telling them to bring anything from their houses, and then so we can be using practically something to express the same things that we are doing, adding and subtracting, but this time actually using objects, okay, and artifacts to make certain that we can represent them. Take them out of the classroom too. Take them walking, take them somewhere. What would we represent? Have we seen anything we could call a fraction as we pass along anyway? What in your day's environment, what in your day's activity could be counted as saying, I have to use the concept of fractions in this? That is what we're going to be doing. That is what we're going to be asking. Our students are not going to learn something and say we did fractions in class and rested there. We did fractions in class, so I have homework. I have to go and look and see, where's my mommy using this in her household? Where am I seeing this when I'm going home from school? Where am I going to be using this? All right? So we have to make certain that we tell our students all these things. So as I prepare you to get ready for the mixed fractions in terms of subtraction, I am going to put it on the board, and look how nice I am. I will send you for a break before I start you with it. So it is 3/4, so giving you a head start. 3/4, and it's minus, and it is 2 3/8. 2 3/8, okay? And a quarter. So notice, people at home too, you're seeing that every time we want to call a fraction, it usually takes the name of the denominator. All right? So because if I wrote this, I would be saying 2/9. All right? The denominator is a 9. If I wrote this, 2.5, I would be saying 2/5. All right? The denominator is 5. If I wrote 2.3, I'd be saying 2/3. All right? And so we see right away that the denominator is the one that allows us to call the fractions by name. So we have work to do. And I like to challenge students. What are we going to do? Well, we have mixed fraction. So we have a whole number and we have a proper fraction. How are we going to deal with that when we talk about subtraction? So take a little time, sip a little cold drink or a hot cup of tea, walk around your house, think about it. So this time your break is not really a free-for-all. You're just giving you time to think, all right? And you can sip or go to the bathroom too at the same time. So we'll be right back to see if your answer or your thoughts coincided with what I am going to tell you. All right, so see you in a moment.
To succeed in mathematics, you need to build on what you've learned before. new concepts are added to and build upon previous concepts. It is very important that the early material be mastered thoroughly. Similarly, mastery of material from previous classes makes success in later classes more likely. So continually review and practice concepts from previous sessions. Complete all readings and especially homework assignments as soon as possible after they are announced. And definitely complete all assignments before new material is covered. This ensures that the information is fresh in your mind and linked to more basic concepts previously learned. Do your assignments early enough to allow you to get help with the things you do not understand.
Don't look on what I cannot do. Focus on what I can do. I may not say the word I zero, but I can hear and feel it I strongly.
I may not hear, but that does not and should not affect my ability to learn and to function in the real world.
I am a gifted student. I need the opportunity to soar. Support me in my climb to higher levels of learning.
Some of our children have special educational needs. They have a right to an education. So, let us teach them the way that they learn and help them to achieve their full potential.
Right. So, did you have time to think? What did you come up with? What do we have? Would you say it's a similar process to what you did in terms of adding? What did I hear you saying? Let me listen a bit closer. Yes, I know that Shanika is outside there telling me the correct answer. That is right, okay? Firstly, we could have been dealing with our whole numbers. So we look at the whole numbers, watch us. So it would be the 3 minus the 2. So step 1, yes, the same principle as the addition, whole numbers, okay? Whole numbers. All right, and notice I'm writing NOS. That's the short form for numbers. So you don't have to write the word NUMBERS again. In mathematics, we always try to get a short form for everything. So that's whole numbers, okay? So you'd be saying 3 minus 2, and we would be getting a 1, okay? And it'd be 1 plus, what? So if we have now removed our whole numbers, what do we have left? We have, it's a quarter, and it's minus 3 over 8. Our concentration then for the moment is with our fractional part of it, because we want to bring them under one roof, okay? Now, we have been dealing, but we're not going to do any shortcuts. Somebody may be looking for the first time. So we're saying here, it is a 1 over 4 minus a 3 over 8. So what do we have to do? Yes, we have to find the LCM. So it is 4 and it is 8. And we, of course, they're even numbers, so it is 2. So 2, and that's 4. What are we doing? We're saying 2 into 4 goes 2 times. 2 into 8 goes 4 times. And we have to bring it down again, because we don't stop until we get a line with our all ones. 2 into 2 goes once, and 2 into 4 goes 2 times. Nearly there, but not there as yet. So you have to go bring down your 1. 2 into 2 goes once. And it is only then that we would say end. So that's the end of the process of finding our LCM. And it's equal to 2 times 2 times 2. And it's now equal to 8. And again, we say these are the prime numbers of the number 8. So the LCM across here would be 8, okay? And then we can say 4 into 8 goes 2 times. 2 times 1 would give you 2, okay? And we're saying 8 into 8 goes once. 1 times 3 would, and it's minus, would give us a 3. Oh, it's all happening with our subtraction, okay? So what do we have? We have 1, and it is 2 minus 3 all over 8. Now listen carefully, because we're getting so many nitty things coming out with our subtraction. You see, when it's addition, you're just throwing everything in the bathroom. But when you have to take off some things from a whole body, you have to take your time and cut through it, or the surgeon operating has to make certain he's not touching another muscle or another capillary or another artery, all right? This is what is happening here now. So what do we have? Because we don't teach our students in school to take a little number from a big number. So what do we do when this happens in terms of our fraction? Listen carefully. This is crucial, okay? Listen carefully. When this happens, that the smaller number is in front of the larger number, what we have to do is to go to our whole number and regard it as a fraction over a fraction in terms of our denominator, so that we are expressing the number 1 in terms of our denominator. So when we come here, we say we're going to borrow 1 from here. If we borrow 1 from the whole number, because this whole number 1 can be written as 8 over 8. That is what we are getting at, okay? So we're expressing the whole number as 8 over 8. And when we borrow that 1 then, we have to call it 8. And then say 8 and 2 would give us 10, all right? So it would be, so all this big operation now becomes 10 minus 3 all over 8. That was not easy. Let us take you through that point again. So teachers, you do not move on, okay? You do not move on. Notice the pain you had in terms of saying what you wanted the children to take from it. And it is at this point that you just be writing numbers and giving them and asking them what would be the answer. Because this is what we had. It was 1 plus, and it's 2 minus 3 over 8. But we know, and we do this with our little students, that we don't tell them to take a small number, a bigger number from a small number. Where that happens, we would have to go and call what we are borrowing from the whole number that is present. We call it the denominator, because we'd have been expressing this one in terms of the denominator, which is an 8 over 8. Okay? So we borrow 1 from here, call it 8, add it to the little number that we had in front here. So it would be 8 plus. And then so this whole operation now is transformed into what we're now going to be calling 10 minus 3 over 8. All right, 10 minus 3 over 8. And yes, I hear you out there, and you're saying, I nearly get it, but I don't get it yet, Miss Weston. So let Miss Weston say it once more again. When we came down, we had 3 1/4 minus 2 and 3 over 8. So we did our whole numbers, no problem. 3 minus 2 gave us the 1. But then we still now had to do our fractional part of it, which would have been 3 over 8. 1 over 4 minus 3 over 8. Okay? So we did our LCM, we got 8, and so we were saying 4 into 8 goes 2. 2 times 1 gave us 2, and minus 8 into 8 goes 1. 1 times 3 would have given you 3. The big number is at the back, and this is where students would be making a mistake, because where they see the big number, they're just going to turn it around and say 3 minus 2. Be careful, look out for this. So you cannot be rushing this process. You would look right away, and you're working with them because you're just teaching. It's the smaller number, and so we have a whole number. We have to come here, borrow 1, call it, because we're expressing the whole number in terms of the denominator, which is 8 over 8. So we borrow this 1, call it 8. 8 times 2 would give us our 10. 10 minus 3 all over 8. So then we know we can get our answer, which would be equal to 7 upon 8. Do not think that the students will learn it the first time. Take your time and go over that process with them. So we do it a second time, okay? And we do it a third time. And after that, we give them some examples. We are the ones, we just make up something. If you had a number, and let's call it, you had 1. Just do it with the 1. 1 plus, and it was 3 minus 7, and it's all over 9. What would we be doing? Okay? Just giving them things from out of the blue because you want them to get through this point. When we're doing our problem and we come right down and we get to this point, again, the smaller number is in front and the bigger number is at the back. So what do we have to do? We have to come to our whole number, borrow 1, because this can be expressed as 9 over 9. So we call it 9 and add 9 and 3 to give you a 12, so that this whole process now will be transferred to 12 minus 7, and it's all over 9. And it's equal now to 12 minus 7, which would be equal to 5 upon 9. Make certain that that part of it is taught. Students understand when we're doing subtraction and we have a smaller number minus a bigger number, they just don't turn it around and say the big number minus the little number. No, the big number must be in front. If it's not, we have a date with the LCM, and then we're going to call it whatever the LCM is, and then we can add it to the little number so that we make certain that it is bigger than the second number which we have to subtract, okay? So we want you to stay at that point. Make certain the students are going over that particular point. So for our subtraction, it's not just doing, especially when we're getting into our mixed fractions, look out for these operations. This is the thing that will kill our fifth formers. And that is why we have to take you right back from the beginning and build you up. Because I can't know which part of it you didn't get when your teacher taught you in the primary schools. So now that is something you say, I never even did that in my life. You're doing it for the first time, and there's always the first time for everything. So we're going to stop with our problems for today because we want you to go over that aspect of it. Make certain you can walk through. When you finish, take it, call your neighbor, tell them to come and sit down, and you want to teach them something. Call your daddy and tell him you want to teach him something. Because what they learn at home is more important than anything a teacher is going to tell them or try to get them to do, because you're using yourself as a unit. And it is on that front that I want to congratulate some of the mothers, especially Maggie in Parham. I met her last week with her son, and she was prepared to come out of her house to wait even if it took 11 o'clock, because there was something that she could not do. She wanted her son to know, and she was going to sit and wait because Miss Weston was teaching somebody else. That is the kind of relationship you must take with your students. Academic work is not just for the school. It is teachers, parents, and the students. When that happens every time, the students will be successful. We want you to remember that the unit is here. You can go on our website and masteringmathematics.info and you can get some of the solutions. Again, you can go onto youtube.com and you will get and see anything that you have missed. Apart from that, you can bring in your memory sticks, and for a little change, we can put whatever episode you're calling for on it. And our disc too, we can come and you can buy one, and in your own time, you can teach yourself and see that you can master mathematics. Do not leave school without it. All right? Do remember to pray for those who have the governance of education at heart. Remember that all of us are working for the betterment of an Antigua and Barbuda. Yes, everything we do in school, we are linking it to industry, because it's no longer going in the cane fields and just counting and saying how many rows and how many tons, all right? This is now using intellect, innovation, creativity, and asking you to stand on your feet and to use the information. The technological tools cannot operate by themselves. Do not say they have the technology so they can use it. The technology requires a competent, educated human aspect of it before it can be of any value to any society. So therefore, we continue our good fight, and again, we pray for the soul of our brother, and we know that all will be well. And we will continue. It's going to be hard. Nobody promised us that this life would be easy. But when that happens, we just have to pray to Almighty God. And He says He will be with us all the way. So until next week, when I come again, we will be looking at some more of the different types of subtraction we can get for our fractions before moving on to take you into the multiplication and the divisional part of our fractions. Never again will anybody tell you that you don't understand operational concepts related with fractions. And that may be the hardest part of the numbers you'll have to contend with in your primary school. But it can be done, and teachers, please remember the practical aspect of it is there to be done. Do it with them in your classrooms. Take them out of the classrooms. Do not forget to use the English language, the vocabs. Ask them what new vocabularies came up today. Let them write their little mathematical journals. Let them keep it. And at this time, I want to congratulate, yes, the school at All Saints Primary School now that is called the, what is that school called again? I'm forgetting. The J.T. Ambrose School, right? Because that teacher right away phoned me and told me that she is now constructing a mathematics lab at the school. Congratulations. And if they come, business people, and start asking for a little thing, please support my teachers. I know already that Clear Hall Secondary has one, Otis Comprehensive has one, and the other schools are looking to do their own little structure in terms of creating a mathematics classroom in the school's compound. So, and again, we are mixing it to and joining it with the real world. We want to thank those hoteliers, especially those in the south, who are actually looking for the students and seeing to it that we can say in Antigua that we are mixing education with the real world, and how what we're teaching in the classroom is going to fit in with what our students need to take them out into the job market. So until next time, this is Karen Weston saying, do enjoy the rest of the week and may God bless you.
Join us next time for another in the series, Mastering Mathematics, a production of the Education Broadcasting Unit in the Ministry of Education and ABS TV.